Let's talk about how you can get more sales of your digital download products. I know how frustrating it can be when you create a product and it just isn't selling. Whether the traffic isn't there or people are looking at it but they're not buying, whatever the problem is, we're going to dive into what might be stopping you from seeing that cash and how you can fix it in today's video. The first thing I always like to have set up in my own or a client's shop is an email list. This is going to build the know, like, and trust factor because a lot of people, especially if you're just getting started, need to know who you are, what you have done in your life, why they should buy from you, and that you're not just some sleazy seller on the internet who is the equivalent of someone that's opening up a trench coat and trying to sell you something on the side of a dark alley. They aren't aware of who you are yet, and so if you can start to build these relationships with your target audience, they are going to be more likely to buy from you on a continuous basis. Your email list also helps you to stay in constant touch with them. That way, when they do need your products, they think of you first. One thing I like to do on my email list is make a call to action to my subscribers, and I ask them to share that email with at least 2 people, and I put in a specific number so that they're more likely to do it. And I love when they forward my emails over to other people. That way more people are finding out about the great content that I'm putting out there, and those people are pointing back to my site where they can then subscribe and I can grow my newsletter even more. My second tip, if you are having slow sales, is to look at where your traffic is currently coming from and assess if that's the place you want it to continue to come from, or if you want to focus on building a different platform. For example, when we look at where our traffic is coming from, we can see that a lot of it is content driven, which is why we put videos like this out there, because those of you who are watching this are more likely to go back to our site and purchase from us. Where your content comes from is also going to change a lot over the years. I've had an online shop for almost 6 years, and when I first started, it was a lot of collaborations and partnerships and guest blog posts, and that was driving a lot of our traffic. Now it's mostly Pinterest and organic search. It is going to change over time, and it's just important for you to look at what's working and do more of that. And don't throw any particular platform under the bus. I learned this the hard way with Pinterest because about 2 years ago, we had a great Pinterest strategy going. We were pinning regularly. We were doing all of the things that we needed to do to have an awesome Pinterest. And I looked at it and I said, oh, these people from Pinterest are coming to our site, but they're not buying. It's a really low quality lead that we're getting here. Let's stop focusing on them and let's start focusing on Instagram because that was the trendy thing at the time. Kind of still is today, but I digress. And when we ignored Pinterest for those 2 years, we lost a lot of sales. And the reason I know this is because recently I got a little bit of a better analytics tracker and I started to see that those sales that we thought weren't coming from Pinterest actually were. So it was showing up as something weird, like a direct link or something, and actually that was a Pinterest sale. So we were missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue over the years because we ignored Pinterest, thinking that that wasn't driving any sales. Thank goodness we had set up some sort of system for Pinterest that continued to run at a very minimal level during those 2 years that we completely abandoned it, because that was driving sales to our shop on a regular basis. So even if you're like, oh, I'm not good at Instagram or LinkedIn or Pinterest, take another look at that and see if that could be a driver of traffic and sales to your shop. One quick caveat though, so you don't get overwhelmed, don't try to do every single platform at once. I like to take a stacked approach and layer each of these strategies on top of each other. This works really well because when you layer YouTube on top of Pinterest, on top of LinkedIn, on top of Facebook, then you start to see some real momentum and growth. And the best part about that is you can get really good at one platform, which means that you're working more effectively, more efficiently, and faster. If it's taking you 8 hours to write a blog post today, stick with it. It's only going to take you maybe 45 minutes in about 3 months, and then you can layer another platform on top of your content marketing, such as Pinterest. When you get started with Pinterest, again, it's going to be really slow and kind of hard because there's a learning curve. And then once you get through that, you're going to be really, really fast and automated with Pinterest, and you can layer on maybe another kind of content strategy that drives even more traffic. I love learning from you guys too. So if there's something that's working for you that I didn't mention so far, drop it in the comments. It would be really fun to just get that conversation going and see where you're at with your shop. My third and final tip is to create some sort of community. Immediately, you might think of Facebook because that's typically where people create communities, but it doesn't have to look like that. It's just anything that connects your audience members to each other and reminds them again that you exist, kind of like the newsletter strategy. So Facebook groups are definitely still a thing. They still work. They're still a great option if that's where you're most likely to hang out. I am not, so we actually created a directory in my shop, and this is going to help us not just hire the people who are most engaged and active in our community, but it's also going to help them connect with each other. And so we took a little bit of a different approach to a community, and that still works for us, but you have to find something that will work for you. So for example, in this business, in my coaching business, instead of having a Facebook group, we have a Voxer chat channel going, and that way I can quickly and easily project out any kind of news, announcements, or opportunities that I have available for those girls right directly in that Voxer chat. I'd love to know which of these things you're already doing, what's working for you, what's not, where you're getting stuck. I really do read and respond to all of my comments, so it's kind of like free coaching. Make sure you drop something below so I know that you are watching and that you like this video, but also if you want a little bit of that extra free coaching, happy to give that to you in the comments below. Just make sure you're subscribed, you like it. That would really help us out a lot. If you want some homework to do in the meantime, don't forget below this video, we also have a free guide on how to create your perfect digital download product. And I promise you, this isn't just some like boring freebie. This is actually pretty substantial. One girl wrote into me on Instagram this week, and she was able to generate over $8,100 in one day using the product that she created from our free guide. So this has legs. I hope it does the same thing for you. Let me know, and I'll see you back here in about a week.